Welcome to Brookline Hub In Depth. My name's Harvey Brovman. I'm the host and publisher of BrooklineHub.com, founder of the Brookline Youth Awards. This is going to be the Comma Hour. I am so excited. We have Lisa Gozashti, who I can never say her name right, but she's the co-owner of Brookline Booksmith, and Joyce Graff of the Brookline Rotary, and Susan Rack of Brookline Rotary, and Chobee Hoy of Chobee Hoy. Chobee Hoy Compass. I don't think Compass, does Compass deserve to be on the same line with you? It should be Chobee Hoy at the top, Compass underneath. You know, there's no way. You can't share any billing with anyone.
Oh, Harvey, you're cute. You know, I've only known Harvey for about 50 years. Oh, no, he's not that old. How could that be?
No, I'm that old. I'm definitely that old. So let's start off. I want to get to the main reason why we're doing this show, which is this incredible book giveaway that the Rotary did in conjunction with Chobee Hoy and Brookline Booksmith and the Children's Bookshop, and you know, this incredible thing. But first, we all know where we are at this period in time, and I'm going to turn to you, Lisa, and you can actually, even if you want, pronounce your name correctly so that the people at home know. But tell us a little bit about what the world, what the Brookline Booksmith's world has been like in the last 15 months or so. And, you know, I remember just before the pandemic, you were just about to launch, you know, a new restaurant as part of Booksmith, and you ended up expanding. But tell us what that journey was like and what it's like now.
Okay, so it's Lisa Gozashti. And Harvey, you made a valiant effort, but we'll do some private coaching later. And I'd say the last 15 months have been an incredible ordeal and a trial, as they have for everybody around the world. And we have, come through because of our incredible customer base and our community and all of our partners and everyone that's here today on this program. And so that has made it a really unique experience and a moving and humbling experience at the same time, because we have basically been carried by the love and dedication of all of these people who care deeply about what Booksmith stands for, our mission, which is to, enrich lives through the written word, but to provide community, to provide a peaceful space for contemplation, an oasis, an elevated space where everybody has a right and is encouraged to participate, to share their own journey, their path, their wisdom, their experience, however varied and diverse it might be, however challenging it might be. There's a place for everybody. It's a true democracy. And so it's been really, in a way, life-changing to be at our 60th anniversary year, which we celebrate this November, and to have come through this trial with such, coming to, instead of thinking we had 1,000 friends, and we now know for sure that we have 10,000 friends. We were able to do so much for our community. Like, we did an incredible fundraiser for the Brookline Center, for the food pantry, and our customers all came forward, not just to share their love with us and buy their books with us, which they did to person this year like I've never ever seen before during the holiday period, but then they also gave their resources, anything extra, to the food pantry. It's been immensely challenging, but it's also been incredibly fortifying to work together with this community. And I feel actually more committed to this work, which feels like a venerable, like a calling, than I ever have before. And I've been here for 22 years. Like I feel, just deeply, deeply devoted to this path, this work. And I feel connected to all of the folks that are working in the world of books all across the world, and who've been doing it for the last 100 years or more. I've learned of people that have been doing it for 200 years, and like I just love the longevity and that sort of holding hands through time, carrying a civilization forward, the best parts of what humanity can offer one another. That's what we're doing. We're not involved. The commerce is only nominal. It's something that allows us sort of to go forward. It's the grease in the wheels, or whatever you want to call it. But the real work is this process of sharing together and honoring, listening together, because that's what we do every day in this world of books. Is we listen, we learn, we see, we understand together. We enlighten one another, and we bring that forward. So I really, awed by this work in this community, and I'm very grateful to have come through the other side with all of you.
A good friend of mine, Paul Epstein, who most of you know,
He's wonderful.
started this I call it the first non-misogynistic men's book club. And so our last 3 authors have been women, but we our first meeting, we talked about the first book that we all read, and then we were getting into the second and third books that we would read. So one person, while we were agreeing on the book, said, well, I can get it for $9 on Amazon, and just tell me whether or not we're getting this book, and I'll hit send right now. We're all like, no, man, like, you live in Brookline. What do you do?
Right.
Like, get your hand off of that computer key. You want to get kicked out of the club? Go down to Booksmith and get yourself a book, and then get a coffee and look around, and come on, be part of the community, will you? But it's so interesting when we talk about nonprofits, for profits. It's really just, are you invested in the community or are you not? And Booksmith is just such a great place. And when you're invested in the community, I remember during the holiday season in 2019 and walking in the Booksmith and seeing the line go all the way to the back. And I saw you there, Lisa, and we talked for a minute. And I like to sort of watch people, and I just, people are in this line and no one seems to be like looking at their watch. Everyone just seemed to be like happy and feeling good, and because they were in a comfortable place. And Booksmith is just such a comfortable place. You just feel so great when you walk in. Chobee, I'm gonna go to you next, and I would tell me if I've got this right, and I wouldn't even be attempting to describe this if I didn't know you.
For a long, long, long time, Harvey.
We've known each other a long time.
Yes, we have.
So if I didn't know you, I wouldn't believe that this one woman decided to buy $4,000 worth of books at 2 local independent bookstores. And then you bought these books, and then you went to the Brookline Rotary, who you've been a member of for many, many years as well. And
second woman in Brookline.
Second woman in
Linda
Brookline.
Larson was first.
Is that, so you were the second woman to join the Rotary from Brookline?
Yeah.
Is it true that you're social security number is 6. But anyway, you bought $4,000 worth of books to give them to people who could really, really use them during a pandemic. And working with the Brookline, went to the Brookline Rotary, and basically in your self-promotion of what you were doing, put the Rotary first before you. This happened. This is who you are, and it's just like another Chobee Hoy story. It's not like the thing that you are going to be known for, because it's just one more thing in a long list of things that you do. For our listeners, the day before the Brookline Youth Awards on May 7th, Chobee called me to tell me what great things, that we were doing again with the Youth Awards, and she's very kind. And then she said she had to get off because she's giving away books. And so she has to leave the giveaway. What do you mean you're giving away books? I thought she was like giving away books that she had read to some one of her friends so that her friends could read it. And she said, no, I bought $4,000 worth of books and I'm giving them away. What's that like for you, Chobee? Tell me about that experience. Did I get it right? Is that what happened?
Sort of, yeah. I'll tell you why it happened. I was sitting on the edge of my bed, which is now my desk. And I was thinking and stuff like that. And I said to myself, the businesses are having problems. And the Rotary is such a wonderful group of people that are doing such wonderful work, much, much more than I am, Harvey. I appreciate the kind words, but it's nothing in comparison to what these other ladies and Elias are doing. But at any rate, and I thought, first of all, Elias is going to be the next president, and he's so good and he's so dedicated. I'd like to do something for Elias. And then there are these other people that just every day are doing so much stuff. And then I thought, and the book, the two businesses, the two wonderful nonprofit bookstores, and the Brookline Booksmith, which you remember when it used to be it had something to do with movies, Movie Smith or something. But at any rate, Cinema Smith, that was it. They do such wonderful work. And Lisa, you are such an extraordinary human being. And then, of course, there's Rhodey, and I thought, Elias is going to be the president this year, and he's going to be so great. What can we do to sort of help him along the way? Because Rotary needs to have a good reputation so that people will come and be a part of it. And I thought, Lisa and Terry. And of course, I ended up speaking to Russ most of the time, and I love Russ. So as much as I missed you, Lisa, I loved working with Russ. He's such a he's a wonderful human being. And that's how it all got going. And I thought, I can buy the books and I can get in touch with some organizations, but I need the person power for delivering the books and being there to hand them out. I can't do that. There's no way I can do that. And of course, that's how I thought of Rotary. And when I called Susan and Joyce and all the rest, oh, don't worry about that. We'll get the people, which I knew they'd say that because they always say yes to good things. And that's how it got. Susan called and she said she had spoken to the town, but she was having troubles. And she said, would you give it a try? So I did, and we worked it out so that, because the COVID made it complicated, we couldn't go into the buildings, understandably. And so we went back and forth and back and forth. And then we finally settled that Friday was a good day to do the books. And that's when I said, okay, person power, let's get going. So Susan was moving furniture to put the books on, and everybody was designing posters, and there it was. And if you could see those little kids when they come to go through the books and they're told they can take it home, pretty exciting stuff. And there's nothing like a book. And at first someone said, oh, get paperback books because they're less expensive. I said, nope, there's nothing like a hardcover in your hands. And when those faces, guys, aren't those faces are in my head of those little people with their books.
You've created a lot of images because of the things you've done of people's faces with that kind of gratitude and love. So it's incredibly moving, and you know, to sort of segue a little bit so we get everyone in at the beginning, the Rotary. I've long thought that the Rotary has been misunderstood by a lot of people, because since a lot of businesses are part of the Rotary, or business leaders are part of the Rotary, people think of it as more of like a business institution. It's a place where people go to network. And it's the Rotary is one of the most incredible organizations
It really is.
in our town. And it's a group of people that are just dedicated, trying to do the right thing. And you know, as a unit, as a group working together. And I'd love to see more young people joining the Rotary, because it's really about, you know.
There is an offshoot, Rotaract, but I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of young people, young people, the kind I work with in the Brookline Youth Awards, so many of them have Rotary stories.
Yeah.
And have been honored by the Rotary, helped by the Rotary. So they know who the Rotary is, because the Rotary's played a part in their lives. Susan, Joyce, either one of you could speak, but tell us, what's the state of the Rotary now? What are you looking for in the future? What are the things you're doing? What are the things you wish you were doing?
Susan, you're muted.
I was laughing so hard at some of Harvey's comments that I had to mute myself. Joyce, I'm sure, please chime in. Harvey, you get us. We are a group of community members who work together to take action, to solve local issues as well as global issues. And we are a service organization. It is about service. This has been an interesting year for us as well, just like every other organization. Part of what we do is fellowship, and not being able to meet in person has been very, very difficult. And yet Zoom, and there's a plug for Zoom, Zoom has been a silver lining in some respects, because it has enabled us to attract some members that we might not have been able to attract with our in-person meetings. Because you're working from home, you can just log on for 1 hour. You don't have to travel anywhere. We've been fortunate or unfortunate because of this situation, having some very, very interesting, informative speakers over the past year. We talked with our colleagues, our fellow Rotarians in India, in Nepal, in Brazil, in England, who can tell us firsthand how the pandemic has been impacting those countries and impacting them. We actually have grown this past year in membership, though we were not able to do our typical fundraisers or our usual activities. We were, as Lisa mentioned, we were able to do a couple of small fundraisers that benefited the food pantry, because food security was a major focus for everybody this past year. And we were able to do a Thanksgiving dinner thing and a Valentine's dinner thing with the help of our wonderful partner, Vine Right Grill. Some things like that. The book giveaway was our first in-person, well, aside from, you know, putting dinners in cars, trunks, it was the first in-person activity that we had all year. And, you know, Chobee is always there with the idea, with the support, with the commitment to make these things happen. And we are so eternally grateful to her for her inspiration and her role model. She is service above self personified.
Look who's talking.
And truly, that book giveaway just was a shot in the arm, and the best kind of shot in the arm for all of us who were there or who participated in some way. Can I tell you one little anecdote about there was at the very last one that we did 3 giveaways at 3 Brookline Housing Authority sites. And that's a key part of our service, is we partner with other organizations and departments and agencies in town to solve these problems. And so we did these giveaways at Brookline Housing Authority, and we were at the last one. We had finished. We actually had packed up all the books into the boxes that were left, and there were not a lot. And we were putting them into the car, and a young boy came running around the corner with his father following him. They lived at the first housing project, near the first housing project that we had done a giveaway at, and they had missed it. And so they saw the flyer. They knew that we were at we were at Egremont. And they took the bus to come so that they could get books for this little boy. And they saw us putting the boxes in the trunk, and this little boy kind of stopped dead in his tracks. And the father said, "We've missed it. We're too late." And, you know, the boxes came out of the trunk, the books came out of the boxes. This little boy was literally jumping up and down. He was so excited. He wasn't the first kid to jump up and down. and kids hugging these books. They're mine. I can take it home. It was wonderful. And that's what we do. And that's what we're looking forward to doing next year and the year after that and the year after that. Thank you, Harvey.
One of the things that we work on is just to make life better within our own community, but also around the world. And literacy is one of the foci that we focus on. And so to instill a love of learning in young children is really wonderful. We also have an Interact group. It's a young people's Rotary at the Brookline High School. And they've been very active this year. They've been raising money for food and also for one of the water projects that we're doing in Central America, bringing clean water, clean drinking water to communities that have not had clean drinking water. As a matter of fact, there's a community in Nicaragua where there is rampant kidney disease, and
It's our sister city.
It's our sister city, Quetzalcoatl, Nicaragua. And there's a kidney disease that we still haven't figured out exactly what it's about, but it looks like it's a matter of pollutants in the water. And so bringing clean water to that community was particularly compelling. And these young people from the high school raised $2,400 to help out with that project. And Rotary is in the process now of putting together a grant We're still working on it, but hoping to get $70,000 together to help bring solar power for that water project in Nicaragua. So we do things locally and we do things globally. And one of the powers of Rotary is that it has the largest nonprofit organization in the world. And through our work locally, we can leverage some of the money from the Rotary Foundation and duplicate and or leverage up the work that we're able to do here on a much grander scale.
Harvey, if I can also, I know I wrote to Russ, Lisa, I trust he maybe shared the email with you, but I have to say these books that we got from you and from the Children's Bookshop were gorgeous. They were absolutely gorgeous. And they were so inclusive. They covered ages, ethnicities, reading level, religions. And I did have one particular mother that I remember came up to the table and said, "Do you have anything for my granddaughter that will look like her?" And she was African American. And I said, "Let me show you." Because we did. We had beautiful books that covered it all.
Wow.
That's, yeah, so great to hear.
You know, this,
And we had some books left over, which we gave to BEEP, Brookline Early Education.
Fabulous, totally fabulous. Yes.
Chobee, who's off camera now, but still with us.
There she
There
comes.
she is. You know, when you just mentioned, Susan, you know, the wanting to get a book that a child can look at and see someone that looks like them, flipping that a little bit. You know what? You all know what I interview young people for the last 11 years, part of the Youth Awards. I'll try to say this without getting emotional, but you know, I always can edit that part out. But we interviewed one student. I remember her telling me in this interview of, if you remember the rallies that Trump had in 2015 and 16 when he was running, and there was this one situation where there was a protester, African American young person, who looked a lot like this girl I was interviewing, this young woman I was interviewing. And when she had, I don't know if she had a poster or whatever she had, but Trump was there saying, you know, get them out. I don't know if he could see who it was or whatever, but people were screaming at her and pushing her and just physically pushing her around and basically pushed her out of the room. And this girl looking at me and she said, "I saw this woman being pushed out of this rally because she looked like me." And I just remembered like that this is, you know, some of the people that these, you know, we don't forget, but I think sometimes people forget that the people that they think they don't like are a lot like them. And that's what we try to do, sort of show the beauty of people that you think you don't like. But I've noticed over the years that now it's just everyone we recognize this year feel that there's an attack on some part of them, you know, on their future, global warming, on, you know, transgender rights, on sexual abuse, things like that. And, you know, it just reminds me that we are the safety net and that you've all been the safety net. You know, it's really the community, what we allow to happen and what we're going to do about things. And sometimes, you know, if people need books, we can't wait for the system to give it to them. Sometimes it takes someone like Chobee Hoy to just do it. And, you know, a simple act.
There are many Chobee Hoys, Harvey, and sometimes their first name is Harvey.
Well, you sort of taught me just to not ask for too much permission, just go do something if you have an idea. Lisa, um, you know, the last year you've talked about the community becoming bigger than you thought it was, or maybe always existed, but didn't need to speak up because they could just come and love your environment without having to feel that they were helping to save it. You know, we all know how difficult it's been for brick and mortars with the emergence of not only online, but massive, massive, massive online, where you can get something tomorrow for less than probably the costs of some independent businesses. What's it been like for your neighbors who own independent businesses and franchises and things like that in Brookline?
I think it's actually been pretty tough. I hear pretty grim statements. Actually, people call Brookline a ghost town. There are now more businesses that have closed in the past few months. The prices of rent are extremely, extremely high through various landlords. A lot of the landlords are they live elsewhere, let's say in Florida or someplace, so they're not actually invested in the communities, and there was some real difficulty around negotiating rents or dealing with the penalties that we all faced with COVID. So that's an unfortunate climate, and I think it's definitely impacting other businesses. So I mean, I'm I'm hopeful that the businesses that are really strong, of which Brookline Booksmith is one, thank goodness, and the Coolidge Corner Theater is another, and there are others as well, but that we can hold tight and provide as much, love and light in the community and as many opportunities as we can, reaching out and partnering with other independent bookstore, with other independent shops, or whatever we could do to sort of create an environment for a renaissance. That's just what my hope is, that in these coming months, there's going to be more faith, and there'll be more folks coming, we hope, through the extended offerings that we're striving to create, that people will come not just from Brookline, but from the environs, and that our other business owners will get the benefit of those folks traveling into Brookline. So, but I'm hopeful, and I think there's going to be, there are going to be some new restaurants, and there's going to be some more hotels. Maybe there'll be something that there'll be things that percolate up. That's my sense. But I will say, I think it's been hard, and I think that any businesses that are the businesses that do well are going to be the businesses that do soul searching and really think about what the offering is and really meet the population, which is what we do at the Brookline Booksmith every single day. Is where are you? You are a customer, you are a patron. What do you need? How can we serve you? How can we reflect your desire, your concern, your wish, your hope, your aspiration? We work together, we co-create the Brookline Booksmith. And so I think any business that's going to be successful is going to have to willingly enter into the process of co-creation with this community. Don't come in with an idea of, oh, I think I'm going to have a pot shop, or I think I'm going to do this one specific kind of pizza. Like it doesn't work. We've all seen it. Another nail salon, whatever it is. Like, have some vision, do the research, and take a risk. Try something, try something new. Try something that has that's value-based, that has deep meaning associated with it. That's what our community is longs for always, and always seeks out. So that makes sense.
If it's all right with you, Harvey, this segues into something I can tell you about that is happening in Coolidge Corner. Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right. They'll be on Thursday nights starting in June. And I think there's something like 20 of them, local musicians, but the talented ones, yeah. Everybody's talented in Brookline.
Talented ones, I love that.
But these are ones who can make a living with their music. We'll go to the courtyard and take blankets and folding chairs and listen to the musicians on something like 20 Thursday nights. And then there'll be incentives to get people to go to the businesses, including the Booksmith and all the rest. And it's just a wonderful thing. I don't know if you know David Lazinski, but he's the president of the Coolidge Corner Merchants Association, and he comes up with these ideas. And so that'll be happening starting, I think it's something like June 3rd.
I love that. That's fantastic. See,
Yeah,
that's the Renaissance. That's the harbinger of the Renaissance, is live music in the street.
And then people will go to the Booksmith or out to dinner. It'll all be encouraged. And maybe they'll buy a drink at the Marriott while they're sitting on the lawn listening to music.
I love it.
You'll hear more about it.
That's very exciting.
Those of you who are champions of independent or brick and mortar businesses in Brookline, and also love puzzles.
Oh yeah, David.
Eureka Puzzles.
That's David Lazinski.
Yes.
That's the one who started this.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Harvey. I'm sorry.
But David Lazinski, who he started from this tiny little space across the street on Beacon Street, if you remember where the Nuggets used to be. And I never thought that puzzle place would make it. And that's
and now he does things with MIT and Harvard. They call him, and he does programs for them. David's really a hot ticket.
That's the beauty of business.
Yeah.
That entrepreneurs get to do the things people think never would have happened.
And the nice thing about David is he's really generous too. He's a helper.
He's been a good friend of mine, and I was a president of the CCMA before him.
I remember, that's right. I remember when you were, I'd forgotten.
Well, David and I are kindred spirits, and he's a great
you are.
man.
You are.
And so and if you don't like puzzles, someone in your family does. So go to Eureka, go to Brookline Booksmith, go. I mean, Booksmith, before, I'd love you to get this in. So there's been a lot of changes to Booksmith since the pandemic came, a lot of really good changes. You're doubled in size, right? Tell what's new at Booksmith. I went through there a bunch of times, and it's really hard to keep your wallet in your pocket.
Yeah, I think we should definitely do a shout out at the end of all the other great local businesses too. Like Susan from Fire Opal, I go there for all of my gifts, and eventually I'm going to go there for my clothing too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get out of my paper bag that I've been living in for the last year and actually get some real clothes. And then there's Mint Julep, which is such a sweet shop, and
it is.
And the general store. I mean, there's some really lovely places here. And I always do all my shopping. When I go to buy gifts, I try to go outside and support the other businesses that we share this community with. So your question, what was your question, Harvey? What are we offering? We've doubled in size. Is that what you were asking?
Tell us what's new at Booksmith.
Okay, so we have, we took on the lease for 283, which was the former Verizon store, and that's I think about 4,400 square feet. So not quite doubling, but a significant space. And what we're offering there, we're offering more books. What we were able to do is get more books in 279. So we expanded our hardcover section, we expanded our kids section, we created helpful new categories like tarot, for example. We expanded our gardening section. We enriched and deepened almost every collection in 279, which was a thrill and something we had long wanted to do, because we were fighting so ferociously for every square inch of space, because we're always limited. We would be even bigger if we could be, based on even the demand from our community. People want this, but we never have quite enough space. So this new space allowed us to push the gift over into the new space, and other novel, quote unquote novelties, or things like journals or art supplies, or now we're doing more kitchenware and beautiful provisions, whether it's jelly beans or balsamic vinegar, olive oil, gorgeous spices from around the world, cabbage kits, lovely things for cocktails, olives, pickles, cheese, lovely cold beverages. We're just experimenting in all things that have to do with the increasing demand and or interest in home cooking and home life, because that's what it's been growing for the last 10 years or so, that people have turned more toward home arts and crafts, cooking at home, sewing, making cocktails, making drinks, making the bitters oneself, all of that kind of, as a obviously like an antidote to all the commercialization of the commodification of our attention, right, through social media and the internet, et cetera. There's been this counter movement toward stilling oneself and digging in through making things with the handmade life, basically. And I support that tremendously. And I'm a practitioner, a proud practitioner of the homemade thing. And I love nothing more than baking a loaf of bread and making my own freshly made iced tea, or whatever it happens to be, crushing up roses in my sugar and sprinkling it over the cake in the morning. I just love doing that. But lots of other people do too. And so we had our cookbook section, as you guys probably remember, in the front of the store, which we've now moved into the new space, and we've expanded it. And now we have associated material, so that goes with that section that people were already loving more and more. And every year there was another amazing new cookbook, or 10 amazing new cookbooks, or Everybody's Baking Bread. You probably know it's a thing, right? During COVID, you can't imagine how many books we have on the fine art of, the wild hunt for that one sourdough starter that's out there in your field somewhere right now. If you can get it before the honeybee does, right? But it's all of that sort of native interest that we always try to support in our population, and that's what we've seen. So we thought it would be great to try having, the spices that you would be, the sumac that everyone's interested in from Syria, or the pomegranates, everything ottolenghi, as you know, all of this beautiful Middle Eastern cuisine, that we could have that available for our customers. So you could not only get ottolenghi's cookbook, but you could also get the pomegranate and the lovely za'atar, and you could get the rolling pin that you're going to need to make that fresh leavened bread, and etc. Right? So, and even a little bit of feta that you'll have, and that's in our refrigerator, that you can sprinkle, again, that you can put into that. So just we always wanted to be a place where we call it one-stop shopping, but it's more of like and that is true, but it's also sort of an emporium of the imagination. So it's like a place for just delight. One delight feeds into another delight, which feeds into yet another one. And all of those things have to do with enriching your experience, the day-to-day experience of actual living. That's what we wish to do, is to elevate life, to inspire further life, further exploration that you do on your own. We don't want to control that. We just want to offer possibilities. It's like a sort of a pollination place.
I love it when you said the wild hunt for the sourdough starter. There's a poem there or something. That's really fabulous.
That's the greatest self-promotion for a local business I've ever heard.
Harvey, one other thing I wanted to mention. We're at Rotary, and we're not the only ones, are acutely sensitive and aware of the contribution that our small, independently owned stores make to our community. I don't know that people even realize when somebody like Rotary goes out to fundraise, we do an auction, we're raising money. It's these stores that give to us, not the online Amazons or the chains. They're the ones that are sustaining our community and that enable us to do our good deeds. And we have an obligation, I think, to give back to them.
This is really true.
I'm so glad you said that, because you know, we have to fundraise for the youth awards, and the money that we raise for the youth awards keeps the 501c3 going for the whole year. So it's hard to produce the show while begging for money. And the best, not only do the local businesses give, but when they don't give because they can't give, because it's either give to someone, a nonprofit, or give or buy food or pay the mortgage or stay in business, you know, they talk to you, they call you, they tell you what a great job you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm so sorry I can't make a contribution this year, but I want to take the time to tell you that as someone in the community, I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. When a bigger business says no, it's in the form of a form letter. The last question, and this is for all of you, what should we be doing in the next year? We as citizens, as residents of the community, people of this earth, what should we do? John F. Kennedy once said, ask not what you could do for what your country can do for you, ask what you could do for your country, which I thought was just a great socialist statement. What can we do for our fellow man?
Well, just in this very conversation, what's come up for me is the power of community, that all of us working together have been able to do more than any one of us could have done by ourselves. And it's taken that group effort to keep this community vibrant, to keep these businesses alive, to keep the charity funds rolling, to keep everybody fed and well and vaccinated. And hopefully we can all remember that and keep that community spirit going.
Well said.
Absolutely, Joyce. Thank you. Taking care of each other.
Lawrence?
Yeah, and I would add to that, Harvey, just that it's also listening, you know, that we, as this service, the way you describe, Susan, I love the way you talk about your work as service. And I think about the work that we're doing in that same way, and certainly the work that I'm doing here. But it's listening, being aware, and always looking outside to hear and to see the things that you are unaware, that for which you're unaware, you know, because we're responsible for that too. Just because we're ignorant doesn't mean, you know, we don't have sort of an excuse. We need to attend. And so I think in this community, we're privileged to be here. It's an incredible place to live and to work, but let's all look together and see what's on the outskirts, what's in the margins, what might have gone unnoticed, where is there a greater need for care or inclusion, or sensitivity. I think that's really important to join together, especially as leaders in this community effort, and work together to help each other actually to learn to listen better and more deeply.
Like family.
Very good.
Can I just say something? Look at Lisa in this picture. Doesn't it look like she has a halo?
It's a little Madonna-esque.
Like you have.
That's right. This is the that's right. It could be an inverted what do you call those? You know, yarmulke, an inverted yarmulke, like a halo / yarmulke.
No, not only does it look like you have a halo, but it belongs.
I think that's what I thought.
Nicely done.
No, it's really a giant peacock that's back there, just waiting for you guys to get off.
Right.
Well, yeah, you know, I forgot what I was going to say, so it was probably, well, what you were talking about listening. You know, listening is really, really hard, and that's why most people don't do it. And I feel that that's my job, is listening. And when I am listening, I'm working really, really hard, because you've got your own thoughts in your head, and to like just put them aside for a second and let someone in. I really believe that, you know, a lot of it besides listening is truth. And there are different truths. There are factual truths, and sometimes we can disagree on them, but each person has their own truth. and their own pain. And I think accepting that when someone says they're in pain or that they're struggling, that that is their truth, and trying to do what we can do as a community to minimize that pain in other people and accept what they say and believe them when they say that things are tough. Because we all have our lives that we talk about and our lives that we can't talk about or don't talk about. So it's such a pleasure to be with you all. I was so,
Harvey, I just want to say that in the whole big world, you are one of the kindest people I've ever known. And all those kids at the high school and tons of other people absolutely love you. Lisa, could he borrow that halo?
Absolutely, absolutely. I will have you outfitted, Harvey. Come on over. I think it would look very nice on you, actually.
we can have custom made ones that we sell at Booksmith with the sourdough bread, baking the sourdough bread.
Yeah, I think we'll just call that'll be the company, the sour bread company's name. We'll call it Halo.
No, thank you all. This was really fantastic.
Thank you, Harvey.
And it made my whole day.
Harvey, it's a
Thank you,
pleasure
Harvey.
always.
Hi, my name is Danielle Myers of ADW Video Productions and BrooklineHub.com. BrooklineHub.com is a 501c3 nonprofit online publication dedicated to community building through local reporting and events. Brookline Facing Civil Rights was produced by our founder, Harvey Brofman. The film is about the experiences of African Americans who helped break the wall of segregation that existed in Brookline before the civil rights laws were passed in the 1960s. Last year, the film sold out the Coolidge Corner Theater and included a panel discussion on inclusivity. You can stream the film and the discussion on BrooklineHub.com in exchange for a donation to the Brookline Community Foundation's Safety Net Fund. You can also stream Soul Witness, a film that features interviews with Brookline Holocaust survivors conducted 30 years ago, on soulwitness.org. For the last 11 years, Harvey has been interviewing outstanding teens as part of an event held at the Coolidge called the Brookline Youth Awards. The Brookline Youth Awards are an opportunity for Brookline residents to hear about the character, challenges, and dreams of its young people, as well as adults dedicated to their success through the power and intimacy of video interviews.